Chapter 13, Testing. Midterms in New Brunswick were a bit of a new experience for me. Back home, the end of the semester was bookended with a week of only exams. Because the city's ever-moving bus schedule, you could go in for one test and then leave, but if you had more than one, it didn't matter because you could still do what you want with your free time. Testing didn't change in New Brunswick, just the distances, I guess. I had an exam every day, which wouldn't be a big deal except they were all in the first 2-hour time slot. And then nothing for 4 hours after lunch while I waited for my next one. I spent the rest of my days reading in the library or in the cafeteria trying to connect what little of a social circle I had, but often they had either multiple exams or none on the days that I would have one. I found myself enjoying it though. There's a weird serenity to a school that's not jam-packed with kids when there's a purpose in the air. Everyone at school was finally here for something they took seriously. This wasn't a normal day at school. It was something special. And I wondered if this is what college would be like, the feeling of people wanting to make the most of learning. I wondered if the feeling of people who wanted to make the most of learning would be present in my higher education. I had been tentatively accepted into 3 different schools: the University of Toronto back home, University of Edmonton, and since moving back to the East Coast, St. John's University in Fredericton. I sat in the cafeteria waiting for lunch to start between the end of my language arts exam and lunch. Mom packed me a few granola bars and a water bottle for, as she would put it, extra energy and brain power. There was about an hour to go, and I still didn't have anything else to do, so I was reading photocopied notes from Sean for our biology final on Friday, sipping on the water and picking the flakes of rolled oats out of my teeth with my tongue. Tony sauntered in and sat at the far edge of the cafeteria. He cautiously looked around for any teachers and school admin that could see him and pulled out his phone to text someone. Phones weren't allowed in school, and after looking around for myself, I realized I was in a blind spot between the cafeteria and the walls of the office, which overlooked the long rows of tables that we ate at. I tried not to garner an attention, but it didn't work. After a while, he saw me reading and came over and sat across me. "How's Peyton County treating you, new guy?" he said, with a little more boisterous than was really necessary. We were the only ones in the room, and it bothered me that he didn't even know my name, or if he did, he still refused to use it. "Just fine, thanks," I said, forcing myself to stay calm and read the notes below me. "Must be a fair shot different from those fancy Ontario schools," he continued. "You really have no idea. There's virtually no difference in the quality of public education facilities between the two provinces." "You and Sarah are getting along like locker buddies yet?" he asked. "Always nice to have something to look at close by you like that." I was getting tired of his voice, let alone the interrogation of dumb questions coming from that voice. "Do you want something, Tony?" I asked. He stared at me and just huffed a single laugh. "Nah," he said, and then stood up, pulled the table towards him by an inch, tipping over my water bottle onto the notes in my textbook. I caught it on the first bounce, but a cup or so of water had spilled on the table and began to soak the papers I kind of needed for studying biology. He didn't know that, I'm sure, but still I could see why Sarah was so vehemently coarse with him around. He was a jerk. He walked around up to the office in the foyer and overlooked the cafeteria space. A tall, rail-thin blonde was waiting for him there. They kissed quickly in front of the office and headed to the doors. Who would date a guy as insufferable as Tony, I asked myself. I'd seen the girl around the school before, but didn't know her name, like much of the graduating class. I was waiting for the yearbook to come out so I could learn them all. I made my way to the still-closed service window of the cafeteria food line, grabbed some napkins to dry my table and my notes. The rest of the exams are pretty uneventful, leading me to what might be the most ridiculous things that high schools have to offer: dances. Chapter 13. Hope you guys like it. The link for the books is in the description below. We'll see you guys later.